What if I told you that the stiffness in your knees and the aching in your hands aren't just the inevitable result of another birthday? What if the real culprit is actually hiding in your pantry right now? Welcome back. Today, we are confronting a hard truth that many doctors overlook. Your joint pain might have less to do with your age and more to do with what is on your plate. We are going to expose 3 specific common foods that act like fuel for the fire of inflammation, foods you likely ate this week without a second thought. By the end of this video, you won't just know exactly what to remove from your diet, you will have a clear, actionable roadmap to turn down that internal heat, reclaim your mobility, and wake up feeling years younger. I want you to take a moment and really think about how you felt when you woke up this morning. When you first opened your eyes and tried to roll out of bed, was it effortless? Or did you feel that familiar, nagging resistance? For many of us, the morning brings a sharp twinge in the knees when our feet hit the floor, or swollen, clumsy fingers that struggle to grip a coffee mug. We've been conditioned to believe that this is just the price of admission for getting older. We tell ourselves, well, I'm over 60 now, things are bound to creak and groan. We accept the aches, the pains, and the limitations as if they are inevitable. We start saying no to things we love, like gardening, taking long walks with a friend, or getting down on the floor to play with the grandkids, because we are afraid of the pain that will follow. But I am here to tell you something that might surprise you, and I hope it gives you a sense of relief. That pain isn't always just aging. A lot of the time, it is actually a fire burning inside your body, a fire that we are unknowingly feeding every single day with the fuel we put on our plates. We are talking about inflammation. Now, inflammation isn't always the bad guy. When you cut your finger or catch a cold, your body sends out an army of white blood cells to protect you. That is acute inflammation, and it heals you. But there is another kind, a silent, slow-burning kind called chronic inflammation. This is the kind that doesn't heal you, it hurts you. It settles in your joints, attacks your tissues, and makes you feel 20 years older than you actually are. And the biggest culprit behind this silent fire? It is often the food sitting in your pantry right now. The good news is that you have so much more control over this than you think. You don't need a magical pill or an expensive surgery to start feeling better. Sometimes the most powerful medicine is simply what you decide not to eat. Today, we are going to have a serious heart-to-heart conversation about 3 specific types of foods that are notorious for triggering joint pain. These are foods that might seem harmless, foods you've probably been eating for decades, but they are secretly sabotaging your comfort and mobility. By removing or reducing these from your diet, you can essentially throw a bucket of water on that internal fire and reclaim your freedom of movement. So, let's dive right into the first and perhaps the most deceptive category of food that you need to reconsider. It's something that is woven into the very fabric of our culture, especially here in North America. We celebrate with it, we comfort ourselves with it, and sometimes we start our day with it. I am talking about sugar and refined carbohydrates. Now, before you say, "Oh, I don't eat much candy," I want you to hear me out, because this goes far beyond the sugar bowl on your kitchen table. When we talk about sugar and joint pain, we aren't just talking about chocolate bars or soda, though those are certainly part of the problem. We are talking about the way your body processes anything that spikes your blood sugar quickly. Here is what happens biologically when you eat something high in sugar or refined flour, like a bagel, a donut, or even that slice of white toast with jam. Your blood sugar shoots up. In response, your body pumps out insulin to manage that sugar. But when insulin levels are constantly high, it triggers a cascade of inflammatory signals throughout your body. It creates these nasty little compounds called cytokines. Think of cytokines as messengers that run to your joints and scream, "Attack!" They cause swelling, redness, and heat,
the classic signs of arthritis and joint discomfort. But it gets even more interesting and a little more frightening. When you have too much sugar floating around in your bloodstream, it binds to proteins and fats in your body in a process called glycation. This creates harmful molecules with a very appropriate acronym, AGEs, or Advanced Glycation End Products. These AGEs are troublemakers. They love to attack collagen. You know that collagen is the stuff that keeps your skin elastic, but it is also the cushion in your joints. It's the cartilage that stops your bones from grinding together. When sugar creates these AGEs, they essentially rust your joints. They make your collagen stiff, brittle, and weak. So that morning stiffness you feel, that could literally be the result of the sweet foods you ate yesterday, affecting the mechanical structure of your joints. The tricky part is that refined carbohydrates, things like white bread, white pasta, white rice, crackers, and pastries, act exactly like sugar once they hit your system. You might think you're making a healthy choice by having a low-fat turkey sandwich, but if it's on fluffy white bread, your body treats that bread almost the same way it treats a spoonful of sugar. The fiber has been stripped away, so there's nothing to slow down the absorption. Boom, blood sugar spike, insulin surge, inflammation. I know how hard it is to avoid these foods. If you walk through a standard supermarket, 80% of the shelves are filled with them. They're cheap, they're shelf-stable, and they're designed to taste good. But we have to ask ourselves, is that moment of taste worth the hours of aching knees or the throbbing in your lower back?
So what can you do instead? You don't have to live a life of deprivation. It's about making smarter swaps. Instead of the white bread that turns to sugar instantly, try a dense whole-grain sourdough or a bread made from sprouted grains. These take much longer for your body to digest, which means you don't get that massive inflammatory spike. Instead of white rice, try quinoa or cauliflower rice. And watch out for the hidden sugars in things that don't even taste sweet. Store-bought salad dressings, pasta sauces, and even healthy bran muffins can be loaded with high fructose corn syrup, which is like rocket fuel for inflammation. Start reading the labels. If sugar is in the first 3 ingredients, put it back on the shelf. Your knees will thank you. It might take a week or 2 of cutting back before you notice the difference, but trust me, when that rust starts to clear out of your system, you are going to feel lighter. You might find that you can walk a little further, or that getting out of the chair doesn't require a deep breath and a brace for impact. But sugar is really just the tip of the iceberg. While we often focus on the sweet stuff, there is another category of food that is arguably even more pervasive in our modern diet. It's something that is often marketed to us as heart-healthy, yet it plays a major role in driving up the inflammation markers in our blood. It's hiding in almost every processed food you buy, and you might even be cooking with it every single night, thinking you are doing the right thing for your health. I am talking about industrial, vegetable, and seed oils. You know the ones: soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, and safflower oil. For the last 40 or 50 years, we have been told that these golden oils are the smart choice. We were told to swap out our butter and lard for margarine and vegetable oil because they were supposed to be better for our cholesterol. So we listened. We started cooking everything in them. They're in our salad dressings, our mayonnaise, our crackers, and almost every single meal you order at a restaurant. But here's the problem that no one told us back then. These oils are incredibly high in something called omega-6 fatty acids. Now, our bodies actually need a little bit of omega-6s, but we need them in balance with omega-3s, which are the anti-inflammatory fats found in things like salmon and walnuts. Ancestrally, humans ate these fats in a ratio of about 1:1. But today, because of these industrial oils, the average person is eating a ratio of about 20:1 in favor of the inflammatory omega-6s. Think of your body like a finely tuned instrument. When you flood it with that much omega-6, it puts your system into a state of constant, low-grade defense.
It triggers those same inflammatory pathways we talked about earlier. But it gets worse. These seed oils are highly unstable. When they are heated, like when you fry an egg or when a factory bakes them into a cracker, they oxidize. They basically turn rancid before you even eat them, creating free radicals that damage your cells and inflame your tissues. So every time you eat that store-bought mayonnaise or fry your potatoes in corn oil, you're essentially pouring fuel on the fire in your joints. I have spoken to so many people in their 60s and 70s who swore they were eating a healthy diet because they avoided red meat and butter. Yet they were drowning their salads in soybean oil dressing and couldn't figure out why their hips still ached. The fix here is one of the most delicious changes you can make. It's time to go back to the traditional fats that our grandparents used. Clear out those plastic bottles of yellow oil from your pantry. Replace them with fruit oils that are squeezed from the fruit, not chemically extracted from a seed. Extra virgin olive oil is the gold standard. It is packed with polyphenols that actually fight inflammation. Avocado oil is another fantastic option because it can handle high heat without turning toxic. And yes, don't be afraid of a little real butter or ghee. When you make this switch, you aren't just removing a toxin, you are adding a nutrient that lubricates your system. You might find that your skin looks better, your brain feels sharper, and those nagging aches in your knuckles start to quiet down.
Now, once you have tackled the sugar and the oils, there is one final category we need to discuss. This one is tough because it is the ultimate convenience food. It's what we grab when we don't feel like cooking, or what we put in a sandwich for a quick lunch. I am talking about processed meats. I'm not talking about a steak or a roast chicken that you cook at home. I'm talking about the meats that have been cured, smoked, salted, and preserved to last for months on a shelf. Bacon, sausages, hot dogs, pepperoni, and yes, even that low-fat deli turkey or ham you buy at the deli counter. The problem here isn't necessarily the meat itself. It's what has been done to it. To keep these meats looking pink and fresh, manufacturers pump them full of nitrates and nitrites. When these compounds enter your body, especially when they are cooked at high heat, they can convert into nitrosamines, which are known to drive up inflammation and oxidative stress. Plus, the sodium content in processed meats is through the roof. When you eat a lot of salt without enough potassium to balance it out, your body holds on to water. For a senior, that water retention often settles in the extremities. Have you ever noticed your ankles swelling up after a salty meal? That same fluid retention increases pressure in your joints, making them feel stiff and tight. It's like overinflating a tire. There is no room for movement, so everything feels rigid and painful. It can be a hard habit to break because a ham sandwich is easy, but your body knows the difference between fresh protein and processed protein. When you eat fresh meat, your body gets the amino acids it needs to repair muscle and tissue. When you eat processed meat, your body has to work overtime to filter out the preservatives and manage the salt load, leaving less energy for healing your joints. So, what is the alternative? It doesn't mean you can never have a sandwich again. It just requires a little bit of a shift in how you prepare. Instead of buying the pre-packaged deli meat, try roasting a chicken breast or a turkey breast on Sunday. Slice it up yourself, and you have lunch for the next 3 days, without the nitrates, without the chemicals, and with a fraction of the salt. If you love bacon, treat it as a rare garnish rather than a main course, or look for brands that are truly nitrate-free and uncured. I know what you might be thinking right now. You might be feeling a little overwhelmed. We've talked about giving up the sweet treats, tossing out the vegetable oils, and saying goodbye to the deli counter. It can feel like I'm asking you to overhaul your entire life, and at our age, big changes can feel daunting. You might be thinking, I've eaten this way for 60 years. Is it really going to make a difference now? The answer is a resounding yes. In fact, your body is more responsive now than ever before. When you were younger, your body has a lot of resilience. It can bounce back from a bad diet pretty easily. But now, your body is telling you exactly what it needs. That pain signals that it is asking for help. It is asking for a break from the inflammation. You don't have to do this perfectly overnight. You don't have to wake up tomorrow and never look at a cookie again. That's a recipe for failure.
Instead, I want you to try an experiment, just for 2 weeks. Think of it as a 2-week test drive for your joints. For the next 14 days, try to crowd out the bad stuff with the good stuff. When you reach for bread, grab the sourdough. When you cook your eggs, use a little butter instead of the spray oil. When you want lunch, have some leftover roasted chicken instead of the ham. Pay attention to how you feel in the mornings. Do you swing your legs out of bed a little faster? Can you make a fist without that tightness in your fingers? Do you have a little more stamina when you're out walking the dog? These are the victories we are looking for. It's not about being a supermodel or running a marathon. It's about having the freedom to live your life without constantly thinking about your pain. Aging isn't about decline. It's about adaptation. We have to adapt our strategies to support the body we have now. By removing these 3 inflammatory triggers, sugar, seed oils, and processed meats, you are taking a massive burden off your immune system. You are freeing up your body's resources to do what it wants to do: heal, repair, and keep you moving. I want you to imagine what next year could look like if you had 20% less pain than you do today. What would you do? Would you travel more? Would you pick up that hobby you dropped? That future is available to you, and it starts on your plate. If you found this helpful, or if you have already cut one of these foods out and noticed a difference, please let me know in the comments below. I love reading your stories, and your experience might just be the motivation someone else needs to make a change. Don't forget to hit that like button if you learned something new today, and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss our next video. We are going to keep tackling these health myths together, one step at a time. Remember, you have lived a long, incredible life, and you deserve to enjoy every single moment of it comfortably. Take care of yourself, eat well, and I'll see you in the next video. Here's to your health.